Automated trading has been around for some time, but these days it's not just about the technology in the black box or the algorithm that makes the trading decisions for you. It also has to be the fastest, down to the last microsecond. I'm Mark Lowdy, and in the next 3 minutes on The Trading Edge, we'll look at the technology that heads of equities must be aware of when talking about automated trading and low latency networks.
Around the technology is growing, and it's very high amongst the customers we talk to. So it's no longer enough just to say that we're fast and here's a proof point or a data sheet that says so. Increasingly they're asking us to show with them, share openly on what platforms we switch, where these switches are located, in some cases what model of switch, how many switch hops, any third-party infrastructure that makes up an end-to-end connection. So it's a very open dialogue with these customers as they seek to make very informed decisions.
It helps that heads of equities are generally younger than they were 10 or 20 or so years ago. Now, in theory, that means they're also more tech-savvy. But in case you're not, let's get you up to speed. Here are the most important things you need to know. First, shared bandwidth and direct connections.
There are services available in the market. So if you look at how it has evolved, we had services which were everything to everybody. And the way that was provisioned is you actually run a fiber, a cable, to those centers where you can find the most users. So that means it may be zigzag cable. It's not a straight line. From there, we then saw that industry moved towards a more specialized product, which was let's address financial customers, their requirements, let's make that community. So, but the business idea behind that was, again, let's get the most number of users from financial community onto this network. It's faster than what it was before, but it's still not the low latency network which we are talking about. And then we go to the low latency network, which is customized for you, customized for the customers, because then they will say that, yeah, this is for me. I'm not actually sharing a network which has been shared by, for example, other customers as well.
A second key factor, monitoring. C&W Worldwide has 2 network control centers to keep their finger on the pulse of their global network. One in the United Kingdom, the other in India. Now, this monitoring system identifies issues and alerts a crack maintenance team, which springs into action if there's a problem.
We're talking about primary and backup systems. We're talking about people monitoring not only the network, but the monitoring systems themselves to make sure that they're up 24 hours a day. So the monitoring system is almost as important as the network in that sense.
There's also the need to constantly improve. Being the fastest today is not good enough. You also need to be the fastest tomorrow and the day after and beyond. Now, to do that, you need to know how the telcos operate and, in turn, how the telcos have to understand your business.
The competition absolutely is evolving. As technology is evolving, as new infrastructure is coming in, new cable systems are coming in the market. They are faster than what they were before. So the competition is also looking at acquiring these new technologies, these new routes. However, I would say that there has to be a strategy behind it. There has to be appetite to work in low latency network environment. And 2 things are very important. Firstly, understanding of the financial markets, understanding what the requirements are, understanding what actually is that they need as key elements of it. And secondly, in-depth understanding of how telcos, telecommunication networks are built, so that you are not actually going through a route of, acquiring that asset which is actually not built for low latency network.
Still, when you're talking about milliseconds and microseconds, you've got to ask yourself, how much faster can they really go?
The low latency networks will have incremental performance benefits. They will be measured in microseconds, they won't be measured in milliseconds. And as we approach that theoretical maximum of speed of light, I think what we will see is that the trading firms will just continue to evolve their trading strategies to, there is a thirst for competitive advantage. And I very much doubt that we will see an environment where the firms would be happy with a level playing field. It's certainly about being faster, it's about being better, it's about being more profitable than your competitor. And in doing so, particularly for the prime brokerage businesses, attracting clients to you rather than your opposition.
And following on from that, of course, is the next question. Where will this arms race end? At what point are further time savings simply not possible?
That may be the case with the technology available as it stands today. And yet there are still opportunities, that we see in a month, in a quarter, in a half year, where we can seize opportunities to find 100 microseconds, 300 microseconds, 500 microseconds. So this is an environment of continuous improvement. Our teams, our engineering teams, are focused on streamlining the network from end to end. Ultra low latency switches, as close to linear distances as is possible from exchange to exchange. And the assets that are available in the sea and in the ground today, I expect will probably evolve over time. And it is about exploiting what exists in your trading day today, and also planning for how you can seek competitive advantage in a quarter, in a half year, in a year.
In the next and final edition of The Trading Edge, what should you demand from your low latency service provider?
Whatever sales pitches, their stats, that we normally get in the usual case are biased towards their best case scenario. As we earlier discussed, they could be the fastest between point A and B and not the fastest between point Z and Y. But the pitch will probably not tell you that. So you've got to actually identify your own needs and say, I want to be fast between point A and point B because this is what I'm taking out of my latency budget for the transaction I'll be doing between point A and point B. And from that, see if what the telco is telling you actually matches your requirements. So they could be the fastest guys to the moon, but there's no trading on the moon at the moment.
Wherever we can, we take routes out. Wherever we can, we remove electronics. Where possible, we shorten distances of fibres, and we try to, wherever possible, build them in a straight line. The shorter the fibre, the faster the connection.
That's in the next edition of The Trading Edge.